Factoring trinomials, same thing as yesterday, but the second half of the section. What do you notice about number 1? 12, 40, and 28. What do you notice about those numbers?
They're bigger.
They're bigger. If we follow the procedure we did yesterday, we would multiply 12 times 28, and we get a really big number there, right? Now, just someone take your calculator out, multiply 12 times 28, and tell me what you get. What is 12 times 28?
36.
No, 12 times 28 is not 36.
336.
336. Okay. 336. 336. Do we really want to find all the factors of 336 that combine to negative 40? No. Okay. So there's got to be an easier way. So think of 12, think of 40, and think of 28, and think of a number that goes into all three. 2 goes in. What about 4?
4.
Does 4 go in? What about anything bigger?
3.
12 doesn't go into 28. Is 4 the largest? All right, so let's do this. Let's try to make this problem easier. And it goes like this. Let's take that 4 and put that 4 out front with a big pair of square brackets. All right? Now, let's go backwards. 4 times what is 12? 3. So on the inside, I'm going to put a 3x squared. 4 times what is negative 40?
10.
10x.
Okay, negative 10x. And 4 times what is 28? 7. Now let's just check 3, 10, and 7. Is there anything else that goes into all three?
No.
So we did find the GCF. Now let's look at the problem. What's 3 times 7? Is that a whole lot nicer to deal with in this first circle? Then what was the number, Josh? 336? Okay, much easier. So, Luke, if you would be so kind. Thank you. So let's put a 21 in there. And then it has to add to what? Negative 10. So, 1 and 21, that's 22. 3 and 7, that's 10. That's close to what we want. So we're going to draw our line, remember?
You have to change the signs.
Change the signs, and what do we change them to?
Negatives.
Negative 3, negative 7, which gives us negative 10. So there's our choose. Multiply, add, choose. Thank you, Luke. Now, who has a little brother or little sister? Have you ever been to the mall with them?
Yeah.
Parents drop you off at the mall and say, what's your little brother's name or little sister?
Lodi.
Glody?
Lodi.
Lodi. Brother or sister?
Brother.
Brother, how old?
5.
All right, so here we have Lodi at the mall with Luke. Mom says, all right, you're going, listen, we'll pick you up at 3. Okay, go see the movie, take him to the food court, and we'll pick you up at 3. So here's Luke with Lodi, and he's walking around the mall, and Lodi's, 5 years old and looking here and there, and Luke's doing what Luke wants to do, and Lodi's going on and on and on. And just kind of, oh, Luke, come on, can we go to the food court? I really want to go to the food court and see the fountain there at Stratford Square, and yada, 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 yada. And so all this stuff goes on, and Lodi's kind of getting to be a little bit, angsty. And he doesn't really understand why Luke wants to go and look at the sports equipment all the time and check out the newest, tunes that are in the store. And so Luke's looking at some tunes in the store, and Lodi looks off and sees the fountain in the distance, and all of a sudden, Lodi's gone. Well, what Luke doesn't know is he's over by the fountain, and he's just watching the fountain go up and down and up and down. And Luke turns around, and what happens? He's gone. Now, at this point, Luke has a problem. He has to think, okay, Lodi's not here. Mom's picking me up at 3 o'clock. He looks everywhere. Can't find him. Doesn't know any idea where he is. 3 o'clock comes, he still can't find him. Luke is frantic. He goes to the car, and Mom's first question is, what? Where's Lodi? At this point, Luke is feeling like the worst brother in the world because he can't find his little brother who he lost at the mall. It's like, the worst possible scenario. So, as a general rule, when you go to the mall with your little brother, what do you need to make sure you always do? Hold his hand and drag him along. All right? That's what that 4 is. That 4 is like your little brother at the mall. And everywhere you go, on every single step, before you do anything, you've got to make sure he's with you. So you drag along Lodi. So, before we do anything on the next step, we drag that 4 down, and then we do the rest of the problem. But every time we do a line, we drag it along. Now, let's do the problem normally. But make sure we drag that 4 has no implications to the problem, except that we need to pull it along. Everything else happens inside these brackets. So here we go. 3x squared minus 3x minus 7x minus 10. Does that look familiar?
Where'd you get minus 10?
I screwed up. How about plus 28?
Well, no, it's 7.
Oh, that's even better. You guys are good. I'm a little screwed up today. I was looking way up at the original problem. Plus 7. All right. Thank you for the correction. All right. What goes into the 3x squared and the 3x?
3x.
3x. Okay. So before I do anything, on the next line, what do I write down?
The 4.
The 4. With my big brackets. And then you just told me a 3x goes into both?
Mm-hmm.
So let's think. 3x times what is 3x squared? That's pretty easy. Just an x. And 3x times what is negative 3x?
Minus 1.
Minus 1. At this point, are we doing exactly what we did yesterday? All right? Parentheses, x minus 1 at the back. That's where I put my box in now. 7 divided by negative 1 is what? 7 divided by negative 1 is negative 7. Let's check it. What's negative 7 times x? So does it work? All right, so here we go. Before we do anything, what do we got to do?
Drag the 4 down.
Drag down the 4. And now we write our answer. What goes in the 2 parentheses? What's the first binomial?
X minus 1.
X minus 1 is the first one. Doesn't have to be, but it's fine. If x minus 1 is the first one, someone tell me the second one.
3x minus 7.
Good. We get to the car, and who are we still holding in our hand?
Lodi.
Lodi. And there he is. We dragged him along. Do you need that 4? Yeah. It's part of the problem.
But why is it do anything?
Now do
It's just a multiplier. It's part of the original problem, because if we took this and FOILed it out, and then multiplied all that by 4, we should end up with the original problem. Now, just for example, what is 4 times x
4x.
times 3x?
12x.
No.
Squared.
So you get 12x squared. So that's how you know that you need it. You can't just drop it, because it's part of the problem.
You have to go farther.
No, we're done. We factored it completely. That's it. So the goal is first today is to pull out that GCF to make things smaller, easier on ourselves. If you don't pull out the GCF, you're going to get huge numbers. Much like, maybe Brett Albaugh's statistics, this thing, his slugging percentage, huge numbers this spring. Yes? For baseball? That would be good? All right. Look at number 2. 25, 10, and 15. Big numbers, right?
5.
5? Anything bigger?
No.
All right, so let's take out the 5. Mr. Switek, are you good with GCFs? Can you pull it out for me? 5 times what is 25? Good. So we get 5x squared. 5 times what is negative 10? Okay, so we get negative 2x. And 5 times what is negative 15? All right, so we get negative 3. Is that much more manageable? Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. 5 times negative 3, talk to me.
Negative 15.
Negative 15 adds to
Negative 2.
negative 2. 1, what must my numbers be here?
Negative.
1 a positive, 1 a negative. So 1 a negative 15, negative 14. Didn't work. What's next?
2.
2 and
2 doesn't go in.
3 and 5.
3 and negative 5. Let's try not to say 3 and 5, but let's always say like 3 and negative 5, just so we don't forget there. What does that add to?
2.
Hey, that's it. All right? So I come back over here. Before I do anything, Abby, I drag down that 5. Who can expand it for me? Josh, go ahead.
5x squared
5x squared
plus 3x
plus 3x
minus 5x
minus 5x
minus 3.
minus 3. Okay. Before I do anything else, I
Drop the 5.
drop the 5 down. Okay, I need a little GCF action. I'm going to put a little circle around these first two for you.
Just x.
Is Luke right? Is it just an x?
Yes, it's just an X.
All right, take a moment. Write down what you think the remaining parenthesis is. What's left when you take out just an x? Put down that just an x and then think, what is left inside that parenthesis? Yep. 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 All right. 7 of you in a row got it right. 5x plus 3.
Oh, see, I did not get that right.
Really?
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry. Well, let's talk through it.
Yeah, that's fine.
What I think is 5x squared divided by x is 5x. And 3x divided by x is 3.
Oh, see.
One way to think of it. All right, so I put the 5x plus 3 at the back. And I put my box in the middle. I'm hearing negative 1. Is negative 3 divided by 3 negative 1? You bet. Let's check it. Is negative 1 times 5x negative 5x? All right, Mr. Donsel, would you be so kind as to give me my answer?
Yes, 5x plus 3, and then 5 times 12. Oh, no, x minus 1.
X minus 1. All right, Luke, I'm afraid I'm going to have to take you to the police office at this point because we have to file a missing persons report. Got to bring down the 5. Luckily, he ran up to the car just in the nick of the time and said, oh, here he is. Very good. Bring down the 5. Always start with that. Start with taking care of Lodi. Start with bringing down the 5. Because we don't have to go to the police department and file a missing persons report. All right, flip it over. Now, I have to tell you, when you get all these kind of problems kind of jumbled together, the only way to think through this is to always think GCF first. And a little indicator of that, Hannah, is if you're starting to look at the number like 24 and 6 and you multiply those together and they're a big number, say, oh man, that's a big number. There's got to be a GCF to make this problem easier. So let's think. Talk to the person next to you. Don't say it out loud. 24, 10, and 6. Write down what you think the GCF is. It shouldn't take long, but just write down what you think the GCF is, and then take it out and see what's left. Talk to your partner, see what you think. Take out the GCF and write down what you think is left. Good GCF. Good. Boom. All right. What's the GCF? And then what's left? All right, Brett, you got the stage. Go. GCF is? 2. All right, Abby, what's left?
12x squared.
Good. Here you go. Keep going.
Okay,
Plus 5x. Excellent. You agree with her? All right. First circle. What goes in the first circle? Negative 36. Second circle? Positive 5. All right. When I write down my factors of negative 36, what do I need to key on and remember? 1 positive?
1 negative.
1 negative. All right. Here we go. 1 negative 36 is how much? Negative 35. Obviously not right. 2 negative 18. Negative 16. Not right. 3 and negative 12. That's negative 9. We're getting closer to 5, right? 4 Negative 9. Negative 5. That's what?
The opposite.
Opposite of what we want. So what is my correct factors? Negative 4, positive 9, and there we are. Circle it, and we got it. That's the hardest part right there. And was that difficult? It's just methodical, walking it through. All right, so what do I write down? Thank you, Jalon. Jalon did the most important thing. All right, going from there. Who can give me the inside? Zach or Noah? Can one of the two of you do it?
12x squared plus 9x 4x minus 3. Plus negative 4x.
Plus a negative 4x. Curious, why did you switch the order? Any reason? Just because? Is it okay to put the 9x first? Yeah, it's fine. No big deal. All right. Next line, what do I write first?
2.
2. Nice big brackets. All right, I'm going to circle these two. Raise your hand if you think you know it. Don't say it. Abby?
3x.
You got it. Well done. Who can finish up for Abby? What's left? Jalon, go.
4x plus
Excellent. Big box. 4x plus 3. Who can walk me through how to get to the box? Not what it is, but how to get to it. Walk me through the thought process. What are you thinking? Luke?
Do you go negative 4 times 3? Or,
Where right here?
yeah, is that, do you go negative 4 times 3?
No. What I think is
You go
negative 3
times 3.
divided by 3 is,
Okay.
and so what's my number there?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, Noah. All right, so I got a negative 1 there. So what's my answer? 3 parts, someone different. Come on, jump in here. Jalon and Luke are kind of doing the whole thing. The rest of you jump in. Katie.
2 parentheses 3x minus 1
Good.
and plus x is 4x plus 3.
Nice. Did she remember to bring Lodi along? Yeah, she did. John.
Yeah, I did a problem different.
Okay.
But I still got the same answer.
That's okay. How did you do it?
Well, instead of putting 9x plus negative 4, I minus 4x minus 4.
Okay, so he put the negative 4x first and the 9 second. So it doesn't matter. You'll still get the same answer. And that's the beauty of it. It doesn't matter. That's what we were talking about with Zach. You can go either way. So don't worry if you do one way and your person sitting next to you does the other way. You should still end up with the same answer. Now, sometimes your answer may be 2, 4x plus 3, 3x minus 1. That might be flipped, but that's still okay. Josh, question?
If you have the negative 4 first, then wouldn't...
It's still, but then your GCF is going to be 4x. And see, here's the 4x is the GCF. So it's still going to work.
4x, or would it be negative 4?
It would be positive 4x, because you're going to take between 12x squared and negative 4x. So it's still going to be 4x. So it's just going to be all kind of flipped around. But it'll end up the same thing. All right, our last one. 11x squared, 77x, 66.
11.
11. So write her down. What's inside? Drew.
X squared, 7x, and then plus 6.
All right. Factors of?
6.
Adds to?
7. 1 times 6.
All right.
1 times 6.
1 times 6 is? Now, I made you a promise. I promised you what? 3 days ago, last Wednesday, that I would tell you the shortcut? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
But I never did, so here it comes. If you have a coefficient on the x squared term that's 1, do we in this case?
Yes.
Then your factors are a direct result of these two numbers, 1 and 6. And your answer is immediately written like this. X, is that a plus 1? And is that a plus 6?
I didn't get that again.
Okay. If, there's a big if here, a big caveat. If that's an x squared, just by itself. Notice up here, it wasn't. It was 12x squared. But down here, it's just what? X squared. If it's just an x squared there, then the factors here, the 1 and the 6 that work, become the factors that are your answers. Now, that makes sense?
Back and all wrong.
Everybody, take your notes and flip back now. I know it makes sense, but the reason we did it before is we were learning the process. Now you know the process, and so we can talk about how to actually work these through. Go back to page 26. Let's show our examples.
Oh.
Look at 26 up here. You see 4 and 5? Look at your answer. Y plus 4, y plus 5. Look down below at number 3. Number 3, you see your factors? 3 and 10. Look at your answers. Look down here. -2, -9. What are your answers? K minus 2, K minus 9. Look down here. -3, -12.
I got it.
Okay? Now, when does this work? When the x squared has what kind of number in front of it? A 1. When doesn't this work? When anything else in front. Does that make sense? So as we look back here, why didn't this shortcut work up here? Because there's a 12. Why didn't the shortcut work on number 2 on the front page? Because there's a 5. Because there's a 3. So, the shortcut works, and that's the way I want you to do it. I don't want you to waste time and do that extra step. The purpose in doing that, though, is to understand that we are learning how to do the process so the complicated ones would be so complicated. Okay? All right, one new square today. Only one. Anyone tell me without looking at the wall, what does it end in?
2.
Think. What's 1 times 1? Has to end in a 1. And what's 2 times 2? 441. So 21 squared is 441. All right, right over here on the left or the right-hand side, right above where it says homework, write down practice quiz. Okay.
Just have one?
Well, I asked you not to do it last night, but to do it tonight.